What's up, my Jiu-Jitsu fam? Welcome to the 15-minute resilient mobility routine, built specifically to give grapplers a tool that they can use on a regular basis to improve the health of their major joints, minimize inflammation after hard training sessions, and preserve and even improve movement quality. These are 10 exercises you can do anywhere, no equipment is required. And once you've gone through this tutorial enough times, you'll have them memorized, giving you a lifelong 15-minute mobility routine. Before we begin, I want to explain why these 10 exercises are so powerful. You have 10 major joints responsible for nearly every movement your body makes, starting with the spine, which we break up into 3 parts, the cervical, thoracic, and lumbar. Then the upper body, the shoulders, scapulas, elbows, and wrists. And then for the lower body, the hips, knees, and ankles. You can even tag in the toes and fingers. See, most people think the muscles are the main attraction, but they actually follow the joints. The joints learn the movement, send the information to the brain, and the brain calls on them whenever movement is needed. So if the joints are the epicenter of movement, then keeping them healthy is the foundation of all physical longevity. Now, what keeps a joint healthy? Well, movement. Joints need fluid to stay nourished and avoid degeneration. But not just any movement, they need movement that trains them through their true design, what we call articulations. Every joint has its own definition of how it is designed to move. When you move each joint the way it's designed to move, you not only keep the joint and its fluids healthy, you improve how the brain and body work together to control that movement. I can't tell you how many times I've coached someone on the mats to move from one joint and they move from another. Having shortcomings in body awareness is more common than people realize. But once you truly understand how the body moves, you can optimize how you use it. That's the foundation of all sports performance and longevity in Jiu-Jitsu. So what exercise trains all 10 major joints and all their articulations? C.A.R.s. C.A.R stands for Controlled Articular Rotation. And honestly, there isn't a more well-rounded exercise in all of physical training. C.A.R.s can preserve range of motion, improve motor control, rejuvenate joint fluid, reduce inflammation, aid in rehab, and even serve as strength and conditioning for Jiu-Jitsu and any other physical practice. Dr. Andrew Spina, who developed this system, once said, "In the sum of all the parts, there are only the parts." Meaning, if every joint in your body moves well, without pain, without restriction, under full control, longevity isn't just luck, it's earned. These 10 foundational C.A.R.s are where that begins. After you go through this tutorial, I'll share the best way to memorize this routine, the best times to use it, and how to advance your training for Jiu-Jitsu overall. The first of the 10 exercises is the cervical C.A.R. A cervical C.A.R is when we complete one full rotation of the cervical spine in all the ways it was designed to move, and then we retrace it back. This entire time, I'm maintaining tension in every direction I'm moving in. That's one rep. Now, before we do 2 of those together, I'm going to demonstrate one full rep, explaining what I'm doing throughout the exercise. So I'm going to demonstrate this from the tall kneeling position. When we do it together for the 2 reps, you can do it from standing. But so first, I get into the tall kneeling position. And from here, I'm going to engage my core, squeeze my glutes, and I'm going to actually straighten my arms out, keeping tension in my fists while punching them down to the ground. Now, one of the ways you could compensate with the cervical C.A.R is moving too low into the thoracic spine or even using your scapula as you come around. We're only trying to move from the cervical spine, nowhere else, even if that makes the motion a lot smaller. So from here, I'm engaging my core, I'm engaging my glutes, I punch down to the ground, and the first thing I do is create tension in my neck, pull down into flexion. Once I go no further, rotate. Once I go no further, laterally flex into extension, lateral flexion to the opposite side, rotating back to flexion and retrace. There's constant tension this entire time. Lateral flexion, extension, lateral flexion on the opposite side, rotate, back to flexion, and back up to neutral and rest. Now we're going to perform 2 of these together. Just make sure when you're doing these, you're not moving into any pain. If you do find pain, just don't go as deep. Start the transition from there. And second, while you're performing the C.A.R, you're maintaining tension throughout that cervical spine the entire time. Every direction you're moving into, you're having a contraction until you move into the next position. Let's do 2 together. So again, I'm going to go from the tall kneeling position. you most certainly could do this from standing. So from here, I'm engaging my core, engaging my glutes. I'm punching down to the ground, keeping my arms straight with tension. And from here, I go into flexion. I already have tension in my neck. Rotate as far as I can. Connect into lateral flexion. Connect into extension. Lateral flexion on the opposite side. Rotate. Back to neutral. And now we retrace. Rotate. Laterally flex. Keep those shoulders down. Extend. Lateral flexion on the opposite side. Rotate. Back up to neutral. That's 1 rep. 1 more. Flexion. Keep tension. Rotate. Laterally flex on the opposite side. Go to extension. Lateral flexion. Rotate. Again, retrace. Keep those teeth together. Back into extension. Lateral flexion. Rotation. And back up to neutral. Rest. That's the cervical C.A.R. Just make sure that you're not moving into any pain. You have constant tension in every direction you're moving into, and that you're not compensating by either moving into the thoracic spine or elevating up with the scapula and shoulders. Next, we have the thoracic C.A.R. The thoracic C.A.R. moves exactly like the cervical spine, except we're moving a bit deeper into the spine and covering a bit more ground. 1 full rep is when we go through all the ways the thoracic spine can move, tracing the end ranges of motion of each one of these motions, and then retracing it back. Again, keeping constant connection and tension the entire time. Now, I'm going to perform 1 rep, and then we're going to do 2 of these together. Again, I'm going to do these from the tall kneeling position. When we do it together, you most certainly could do it from standing. So I get into my tall kneeling position. From here, I engage my core, I squeeze my glutes, and then instead of punching the arms down, we're actually going to give ourselves a hug. And then from here, I'm going to keep tension in my core and crunch down, making sure I'm not moving from the lumbar spine. I'm only moving around the center of my torso, going into flexion as far as I can. Once I go no further, I rotate, laterally flex, into extension, constant tension, lateral flexion to the opposite side, coming back, rotate, and I retrace. Laterally flex, extend, laterally flex to the opposite side, rotate, down to flexion, and then come back up to neutral. That's 1 rep. Now, let's do 2 of these together. Again, just make sure that when you're performing the thoracic C.A.R, that you're not moving too low, like you're moving down from the lumbar spine. We're really trying to just target around the middle of our torso. So let's begin. Again, I'm going to do it from tall kneeling. You most certainly could do it from standing. First thing we do is we give ourselves a big hug. We engage that core, engage our glutes. We pull ourselves down into flexion. Once we go no further, rotate. Laterally flex, constant connection, constant tension. Find all the muscles that are responsible for pulling you in the directions that you are, making big full rotations. Back to flexion, retrace, rotate. Laterally flex, extend, lateral flexion to the opposite side, rotate, back up to neutral. That's 1 rep. Rep number 2, engage that core, pull yourself down, rotate. Keep good amount of tension here. Extend, laterally flex, rotate, and retrace, rotate. Laterally flex, extend, lateral flexion, back to flexion, and back up. Rest. Now, just make sure, again, as you're performing the thoracic C.A.R, that you're not moving too low into the lumbar spine, that you're not moving too much from your shoulder blade. You want to try to have all this movement happen from the thoracic spine, wrapping around the middle of your torso. Don't move into any pain, keep constant connection, and don't compensate. Next, we have the lumbar C.A.R. Now the lumbar C.A.R is very similar to the cervical and thoracic spine, only we're really trying to move just around our waist. Now, because we're getting into a deeper position, it's really important to make sure that you're not forcing yourself into a position that you don't have control of. Meaning, if you start moving down into one of the low lumbar positions and you start to feel like an immense amount of tension, it might not even be pain, but if it's an immense amount of tension, maybe back out of that a little bit, start working from there, and then over time, start going a little bit deeper once you have the motion completely down pat. I'm going to demonstrate 1 rep, and then we're going to do 2 of them together. So from the standing position, I keep my feet at shoulder width. And now from here, I'm actually going to make fists, engage my core, and then I'm going to pull myself down into a fully flexed lumbar position. Remember, just go wherever you can control. You don't need an immense amount of tension. Once you go no further, I'm going to begin to rotate like I'm going over the outside of my foot. And then I go back up into lateral flexion, a lot more dramatic extension. Feeling my whole spine basically working here. Lateral flexion to the opposite side. Rotating down to neutral. Now I retrace. From here, I'm engaging my core. Like I'm doing a sit-up. Now I'm going back over my hip. Extending back as far as I can. Engaging all those muscles. Constant tension every direction I'm moving in towards. Pulling myself back down to the ground. Back into that flexed lumbar position. And then I'm coming all the way back up to neutral. That's 1 rep. Let's do 2 of these together. So from neutral, I engage my core. I punch down to the ground. And from here, I'm going to come down into flexion. Make sure we're not experiencing any pain. Once you go no further, we rotate over our hip. Into lateral flexion, into extension. I'm feeling tension throughout my entire spine. Now I'm coming down, pulling myself down, back into that rotated position. Flexion, rotate back. Over the top, engage, squeeze your core your whole time. Coming round extension into lateral flexion on the opposite side. Again, engaging that core, pulling myself down. Keeping tension, maintaining tension throughout my arms. 1 vertebrae at a time, I'm curling back up to that top neutral position. That's 1 rep. Rep number 2, pull back down, curling down 1 vertebrae at a time. Engaging that core. Once I go no further, I rotate. Laterally flex over that hip. Into extension. Keep constant connection, constant tension. Come back down. Back into flexion, retrace, rotate, laterally flex, extend, laterally flex, pull back down to neutral, 1 vertebrae at a time, unwind, come all the way back up. Now, again, make sure that when you're doing this, you're not experiencing any pain. You're maintaining constant tension and constant connection in every direction you're moving in. And lastly, try to avoid compensating from any other areas. It's really hard to compensate with the lumbar spine because we're at the very, very end of it. But sometimes you might find that you're actually rotating from your hips a little bit more from the lumbar spine itself. Now, those are the 3 spinal C.A.R.s. Next, we're going to get into the upper body, starting with the shoulder C.A.R. Next, we have the shoulder C.A.R. Now, a shoulder C.A.R is when we go through all the ways the shoulder can move without compensating by using any other joints. And then we retrace that motion back while keeping constant tension and constant connection the entire time. That's 1 full rep. We will do 2 of these each side together. Before we do that, I'm going to demonstrate 1 rep from the tall kneeling position. And then when we do it together, you can do it from standing. So from here, I'm engaging my core, engaging my glutes. And then from here, I'm coming across my midline into adduction without rotating from the spine as I go up into flexion without extending from my rib cage. I open that shoulder out into abduction. As I internally rotate, I'm spinning from that shoulder joint into extension. Notice how my thumb is pointing back behind me. I bring that arm back to my side. That's half a rep. Now we retrace. I go back into extension. Externally rotate. Come back over the top, keeping that arm locked. Don't compensate. Back into flexion. Come across that midline and rest. Now, because we're moving from a smaller joint, really make sure that you're not moving into any pain and that you're not compensating. The further you get away from the spine, the easier it is, or the easier you'll find it to compensate. So make sure that we're only moving from that target joint. Now, let's do 2 of these together. I'm going to do it from the tall kneeling position. You most certainly could do it from standing. So from here, I engage my core, I'm engaging my glutes. I lock that arm out to create a moderate amount of tension in that fist. And from here, I come across the midline to adduction as far as I can. And I come up into flexion without compensating. Keep constant tension. Come away from the body, find the muscles in the back of the shoulder, and rotate using the muscles in the front of the shoulder into extension. Reach back for that wall behind you. Come back to a neutral position. Retrace back. Extend. Externally rotate as I'm opening that shoulder up. Back up into flexion. Adduct across the midline. And that's rep number 1. Rep number 2, again, come right back into it. Come across that midline. Flexion. Abduction. Internal rotation. Rotate that arm bone. Back into extension. And retrace. Extend. Externally rotate. Core's engaged. Glutes are engaged. Keep that fist tight. Come across. This should not be relaxing. And down. Beautiful. Now let's jump into 2 on the opposite side. So from here, I engage my core, engage my glutes, lock the arm out, moderate amount of tension in that fist. Come across the midline, up into flexion, open up, not compensate. I'm only moving from that shoulder, internally rotate, spin that arm bone, back into extension, hand comes by side. I extend back, externally rotate, come up over the top, back up into flexion, keeping that arm as straight as humanly possible. Adducting across. 1 more rep. Keep tension. Come across as far as you can without twisting. Flexing without extending. Abduct. Open the shoulder. Internally rotate into extension. Back by your side. Retrace. Extend. Go as far as you can. Externally rotate. Twist that arm bone. Back over the top, coming up into flexion, adduction, and rest. Beautiful. Again, just make sure, number 1, no pain. Number 2, constant tension. Number 3, don't use any other joint other than the shoulder. Next, we have the scapular C.A.R. Now, the scapular C.A.R. is definitely a more challenging motion just because you've probably never moved your scapula in such an isolated exercise before. So just as you do it, don't get super frustrated if it takes you just a little bit of time to figure it out. So at a glance, 1 rep is when we go through all the ways the scapula can move while not compensating, meaning using any other parts of our body, and then retracing it back. Just think about creating a big square and then retracing it back. I'm going to give you 1 full rep from the tall kneeling position, and then we're going to do 2 each side together. So from this position, I engage my core, engage my glutes. Again, I'm going to lock that arm out, keeping a moderate amount of tension in that fist. Instead of being straight out, I'm actually going to be out on a 45-degree angle. Now from here, the first thing I'm going to do is pull my shoulder blade down, and then I'm going to slide it out in front. So from here, I'm going to do what's called elevation. I'm picking my shoulder up, pulling back in a retraction, and then depressing it down into the pocket, and then sliding back forward into protraction. From here, I retrace, I pull it back, retract, elevate, protract, depress. Now, let's do 2 of these together. Like I said, if it's a little bit frustrating, don't be overwhelmed. Take your time. In time, it'll be very, very simple. So Let's start with that right arm again. Engage your core, engage your glutes. Stick the arm not straight out, but on a 45-degree angle. Arm is locked, moderate amount of tension in the fist. And from here, we're going to slide forward, pulling that shoulder blade down, starting in this position. We come up into elevation, back into retraction, down into depression, sliding out to protraction. Retrace, back, retract, elevate, protract, depress. One more time. Elevate, retract, depress, protract, retrace. Nothing from the ribs. Back, elevate, protract, depress. Let's switch sides. Again, engage the core, engage the glutes. Stick that arm out on a 45-degree angle, moderate amount of tension in the fist. And from here, we start shoulder blade down and out. And from here, we come up into elevation, back into retraction, down into depression, sliding back out to protraction. From here, we pull back, retract, squeeze that shoulder blade, come up, out as far as you can, and down. That's one rep. One more time. Up, back, depress, protract, retrace, retract, elevate, protract, depress, rest. Again, don't be super frustrated. Take your time. It will actually help if you perform some of these movements that might feel a little bit challenging and a little bit weird if you do them in front of a mirror, just so you get some visual feedback for what you're doing. Again, do not move into any pain. Keep constant tension the entire time. Every direction you're moving into, you're trying to connect those tissues in the direction you're moving in towards. And number 3, try as hard as you can not to compensate. Don't end up using that thoracic spine or rotating from the shoulder. All the movement is happening from that scapula. Next, we have the elbow C.A.R. Next, we have the elbow C.A.R. Now, the elbow C.A.R. is one full rotation of the elbow, then retracing it back, making it one full rep. Just make sure that when you're doing this, that you're not compensating by flaring out from the shoulders. You want this motion to only happen from the elbow. I'm going to demonstrate one quick rep, and then we're going to do 2 each side together. So I'm going to do it from the tall kneeling position. Again, when we do it together, you can do it from standing. And from here, I'm going to keep my arm right by my side, and I'm going to start in this supinated position. Also shoulder external rotation, but supinated elbow position. And from here, I'm going to make a fist. I'm going to curl up as far as I can into flexion. From here, I'm going to rotate into pronation. I'm going to come all the way down until I fully extend my elbow. And I'm going to pull back up into flexion again, rotate out into supination, and they come all the way back down. That's one rep. We're going to do 2 of these each side together. So again, I'm going from tall kneeling. You most certainly could do this from standing. So from this position, I'm engaging my core, engaging my glutes. From here, I'm keeping my arm out to the side in that supinated position. And then from here, I'm keeping tension in that fist. I'm curling up with isometric tension, rotating into pronation, extending all the way back down, coming back up into full flexion, rotating into supination, extending all the way back down. That's one rep. Coming back up again, all the way up, rotate into pronation, extend, fully extend that elbow, show off those tricep muscles, come back up, rotate into supination, fully extend back down. Rest, opposite side. Keep that core engaged, keep that moderate amount of tension in that fist. From here, I'm making that fist, I'm engaging my core. I'm not flaring out from the shoulder or only moving from the wrist. All the motion is happening from the elbow. From here, engage my core, come up, full flexion, rotate into pronation, fully extend, back down. Pull back up, rotate, back into supination, all the way back down. One more rep. All the way up, rotate, keep constant tension, constant connection, all the way back down, pull back up, rotate, come all the way back down. Rest. 3 rules: don't move into any pain. Number 2, keep constant connection and constant tension in every single motion that you're moving in. And number 3, just make sure you're not compensating from the wrist and most especially from the shoulder, right? Like as you come, don't let that shoulder start making that elbow come out wide. Just try to localize just from the elbow. Next, we have the wrist C.A.R. Next, we have the wrist C.A.R. So now the wrist C.A.R. is one full rotation of the wrist and then retracing it back. That's 1 rep. We're going to do 2 each side. I'm going to give you the quick demonstration first. And then when we do 2 of these together, you most certainly can do it from a standing position while I do it from the tall kneeling. So from here, I'm going to come up to that tall kneeling position. I'm going to engage my core, engage my glutes. I'm going to stick my arms straight out in front of me. And now what we want to make sure is that we're not moving from the elbow. So what I recommend is thinking about you have a brand new iPhone on top of your forearm. Don't let it fall off and break. Even if that means you might have to like actually hold your elbow for the first couple of rounds of this, just until you get used to it. So from here, I pull back into extension. I come out to the side, lateral flexion and rotation, into flexion, creating the biggest circle I can, and then retracing, wrapping all the way around, keeping constant connection and constant tension. That's 1 rep. Now we're going to do 2 of these together. Again, make sure that you're not rotating from the shoulder or the elbow, that it's only coming from the wrist. And just really make sure the further you get away from the spine, the harder it is to control those things. So just make sure that you're really focused on where you're moving from and maintaining that tension the entire time. So from here, we'll start with my right arm. I'm going to keep it straight out. Core's engaged, glutes are engaged. And from here, I pull back into extension. I wrap around, creating the biggest circle I can, not moving from anywhere else other than my wrist. Retrace, keeping tension, wrapping around, pull back into that extension. 1 more time, wrapping around. Don't move from anywhere else other than that wrist. Wrapping it around, tension, tension, tension the whole time. And rest, opposite side. Start in that neutral position, core's engaged, glutes are engaged, not moving from the shoulder or elbow. From here, I go back into extension, lateral flexion and rotation, flexion, rotate, retrace. Only moving from that wrist. 1 more rep, constant tension, constant connection. Try to go as far as you can, contract as much as you can. Retrace, stay engaged, and rest. Beautiful. Again, the 3 rules: no pain, constant connection in every single direction you move into. And number 3, don't compensate. This one is a lot easier to compensate with because you start moving from your elbow. Just focus on the wrist. That's it for the 4 upper body C.A.R.s. Next, we begin your lower body C.A.R.s, starting with the hip C.A.R. Next, we have the hip C.A.R. Now, the hip C.A.R. has the same articulations or joint movements as the shoulder C.A.R. So I'm going to demonstrate 1 rep, and then we're going to do 2 each side together. So from the standing position, now, if you have to hold on to something for balance, it's most certainly fine. Over time, you could go to a freestanding position, but for now, don't make it about balance. Make it about the hip C.A.R. So from this neutral position, I'm engaging my core. I move my foot over to center my balance a little bit better. And then I come across the midline into adduction as I pull up into flexion. Then I open the gate as far as I can, internally rotating. So I'm trying to twist that leg bone into hip extension. Then I actually pull back up into a little bit of a flex position again. And then I retrace. I go all the way back into hip extension, finding that glute. Knees come away. I externally rotate. So I'm twisting from that hip, pulling back up into flexion, coming back across, and then down. Now, when you do this, you really want to make sure that you're not compensating from your lumbar. It's really easy to start twisting from the opposite hip or start bending and moving around from that lumbar spine. So really just make it all about the hip. We're going to do 2 each side. Make sure that we're engaging, maintaining that tension the whole time. So from here, we're going to balance ourselves. And then from the opposite leg, we're going to come across the midline, keeping constant connection and tension throughout that entire leg, even in our core and even a little bit through our upper body. We come up, pulling across, using all those muscles. in our groin to come across adduction. Then we come up into flexion. And we open the gate using the muscle on the backside of the hip. And we internally rotate into extension, pull back up, do a little bit of flexion. Now we retrace, kick back. Behind you, engage that glute. Knees come away. Externally rotate, pull back up, cross the midline, and down. Rep number 2, make sure when we do this, we're engaging the core. And if somebody's going to come and move that leg, they wouldn't be able to. Engage the core, come across, tension throughout that whole hip. Pull up as high as you can into flexion, open the gate, internally rotate into extension, pull back up, do flexion, retrace, extend, back, find that glute, knees come away, twist, external rotation, back up into flexion, come across the midline to adduction, and down. Now, we're going the opposite side. Same thing, we're engaging that core, keeping all that tension throughout that leg. We come across adduction, up into flexion, open the gate, twist into internal, don't move from that spine, go into extension, feel that muscle, pull back up through flexion and retrace, back, extension, knees come away, externally rotate, coming up high, cross the midline, and down. One more time, cross. Squeeze those groin muscles up into flexion. Open the gate, twist, back into hip extension, pull back up, kick back, hip extend, knees come away, externally rotate over the top, come across the midline, and down, rest. Now, that should definitely be a little bit taxing. So you just want to make sure the 3 rules. 1, we're not moving into any pinching pain within that hip. Number 2, we are maintaining constant tension in every direction we're moving it towards. And number 3, we're not compensating with the lumbar spine or the down leg. We want to make sure that all the motion and movement is happening from that hip, even if it's a very, very small amount of movement. We want to start there, and over time, we'll gain more. Next, we have the knee C.A.R. Next is the knee C.A.R. Now, the knee moves a lot like the elbow, so we want to make sure that we're not compensating with the hip or the ankle the same way that we would compensate with the wrist or the shoulder for the elbow C.A.R. So from a seated position, I'm going to demonstrate 1 rep, and then we're going to do 2 of these each side together. So now I take underhook, gable grip down on the outside, and from here, I'm going to pull my leg back all the way into a flexed position. Now from here, I'm going to rotate. This part is a little bit tricky, but I'm going to rotate from my knee, not from my ankle. Rotate into what's called medial tib rotation. I come up into extension as far as I can. I pull back down with tension, rotate out to the side. That's called lateral tib rotation. And then we come back up as high as we can and then pull back down. Now, while I'm doing this, you want to maintain tension the entire time throughout that leg. I'm not just letting my foot come down, creating isometric tension in my quads and my hamstrings to pull and extend that leg up and down. Now, let's do 2 reps together. So first, underhook, gable grip. We're going to pull that knee back into a flexed position. We rotate from the tib. We come up into extension, pull back, rotate out, lateral, up, back into flexion. That's 1. Then we go back into medial, extend, flex, lateral rotation, extend, pull back down, tension, flex, rest, switch sides. Underhook, gable grip, pull back into flexion. We're going to start medial rotation. We come up as high as we can, tension, pull back, rotate out to the side, lateral tib rotation, extension, flexion, again, rotate medial, up, extension, flexion, lateral rotation, extension, flexion, rest. Now, when you do this, the medial and the lateral tib rotation component of this is going to take a little bit of time. Something that can help you is think about moving from your hamstrings. It's your hamstrings that's actually going to help guide that tib to rotate side to side. Just make sure that when you're doing this, you're not dumping out from the ankle. It's the biggest compensation is that people go to rotate their leg out and instead they move from their ankle. Really make sure that when you're doing this, it's only coming from the knee. Again, if you have to get some external feedback, you can most certainly do it in front of a mirror just to make sure that you're actually moving your knee right. The 3 rules: number 1, don't move into any pain, especially in the rotation. Number 2, keep constant tension. Remember this one, you have to create that isometric tension to make it stimulating. And number 3, don't compensate with the hip or ankle. Next, we have our final exercise, the Ankle C.A.R. Next and lastly, we have the Ankle C.A.R. Now, the ankle moves a lot like the wrist, so we want to make sure that we're not compensating from the knee or the hip, just the same way we would compensate with the elbow and shoulder when doing wrist work. I'm going to demonstrate 1 rep, and then we're going to do 2 each ankle together. So from the seated figure 4 setup, we're going to try to move only from the ankle and make sure that we're not rotating from the hip. So from here, the first thing I do is I pull my ankle back into dorsiflexion. I rotate in what's called inversion, down into plantar flexion, off to the side, in eversion, and then I retrace out to the side, wrapping around, coming back up. That's 1 rep. You just want to think about creating the biggest circle you can with your ankle, more especially thinking about a marker at the edge of your toe. You're trying to create the biggest circle you can without moving the toe. Let's do 2 reps together. So from here, I'm engaging my core and I'm going to pull tension out of the leg immediately. I pull back into dorsiflexion. I invert down into plantar, evert out to the side, back to neutral. Then I come back, eversion, plantar, inversion, pull back, dorsi. One more time. Inversion, plantar, eversion, dorsi, retrace, eversion, plantar, inversion, dorsi. Let's switch it up. From here, we lock the leg. We keep tension in our core. We go back into a dorsiflex position. From here, we go into inversion, plantar flexion, eversion, dorsi, retrace, eversion, plantar flexion, inversion, dorsi. One more time. Inversion. Big circular motion. Keep all tension and connection happening from that ankle. You'll feel it throughout the calf and the shin. Retrace. Coming all the way back around. And rest. Beautiful. Now, just make sure when you do this again, the 3 rules. Number 1, you don't move into any pain. Number 2, you keep constant connection in every direction you're moving in towards. And number 3, you are not compensating with the hip or knee. That's it for the 10 foundational exercises. I'll see you soon. Okay, my friends. Now let's talk about how to make this routine a part of your life for the long term. First and foremost, it's in your best interest to memorize these 10 exercises. My recommendation is to use this tutorial 3 times a week for the next 4 weeks. Each time you go through it, try to stay more connected with tension, transition between movements smoothly, and even recite each exercise as you're doing it. Also, doing this in front of a mirror can be incredibly powerful because you'll see your control improving in real time. Once you've memorized the 10 exercises, it's time to start building them into your regular routine. Number 1, hit the whole routine before every class. Get to your school 15 minutes early, grab your favorite training partner, and go through it together. Or even better, ask your coach if you can lead it as a warm-up before every class starts. Number 2, do 2 or 3 of the 10 exercises every morning. 5 minutes a day truly adds up fast. And number 3, when you're sore or recovering. Never move through sharp pain, but a little controlled discomfort can actually accelerate recovery and keep your joints healthy. And last but not least, optimization. These 10 exercises are the first 10 movements I teach inside the BJJ Kinstretch Club, a 2-day per week program I created for grapplers to do on their off or light days of training to stay strong, mobile, and injury resistant. This is far from your typical strength and mobility program. It's designed to be done at home with minimal equipment and truly to be sustainable for a lifetime. So if you're looking for a better way to increase your durability, minimize future injuries, and even heal old ones, the BJJ Kinstretch Club is where you start. You can find the link to join in the description below. Remember, if you take care of the foundation of movement, you'll truly be able to sustain jiu-jitsu for many more years to come. Stay strong, my friend.